Introduce
Bill
yourselves.
Martin of First Martin, and
Karl Frankena, I'm a local attorney.
it's interesting. We actually weren't founding members, were we, Carl?
We weren't, no. We were brought in.
Right. We were founded in 1971 by a group of folks originally from the university and the community, and that group kind of recruited both Carl and I. And the whole purpose of the organization was to preserve land for open use and public enjoyment. And I was personally recruited by Dr. Curry, a professor of geography at the university, who said to me, "Hey Bill, you're a real estate developer in our community. Why don't you help try to preserve land?" So I said I'd be happy to do that for a couple of years, and that turned into more than 25 years. And Carl, you came right after.
We both joined the board in the mid-70s, and my background was that while I was in law school, the Sierra Club was evolving and was taking strong positions, and so I became a member of the Sierra Club, and in about 68, I think it was, I formed the local chapter of the Sierra Club, and I was late to the first meeting and ended up being the president, although that wasn't the intention. There were a group of us that really organized it. And I stayed with that group for at least 4 years, maybe 5, and then I eased in some new people to take over and took a sabbatical for a year or two, and then Wayne Say, who was on the board of the Washtenaw Land Trust at that time, recruited me along with John Hathaway, and I came in about a year after Bill, and we at that point were finishing up the Osborne Mills acquisition, which is the oxbow below Delhi Park.
Right, on the Huron River.
On the Huron River. There's a real oxbow there, cut off, that cuts off the oxbow because of a road and some bridges. And it's the old skinny dipping area on the Huron River where a lot of locals used to go for that purpose. And that
I wouldn't know. It's interesting that you do, Carl.
that occurred in the late 70s and was finalized while we were on the board.
Then the next major one that we probably took on was what became known as the Bandamer Park property, which is right up at Main Street and the M14 bridge and the Huron River.
The next major project that we got involved with was basically across the North Main Street from that in the Bird Hills project, which is overlooking the Huron River. In those periods of years then, from the mid-70s to 1991, the board of directors and the Washtenaw Land Trust acquired about 120 acres of conservation land that either went to the county or went to the city. And it was after 1991, a couple of years later, when we hadn't done a new project, that Bob Gilbert approached Bill and talked to us about a possible merger of the Potawatomi Land Trust with the Washtenaw Land Trust. And the idea being is that they had a little more structure than we had, and we were getting older in age.
Chronologically gifted.
That's right. And so what they wanted to do was to have our people on a board supplemented by their people who were younger, and our treasury, which we had about $50,000.
Yeah, they wanted our money. We operated for more than 20 years with zero expenses. We had members, maybe 100 members, and as Carl mentioned earlier to us, we did away with dues. We didn't need dues because we didn't have any expenses. And I know we brought on board an individual who was from the title insurance business, Phil Surratt, and he would do all the title work for us for free. So, it was trying to collect on our board or as friends all the talents you needed to accomplish what we wanted to do, was to acquire land one way or another for open space and public use.